lack of seriousness. We are never serious with anything as Kenyans. And this will be our undoing. We are not serious with anything, and we don't like thinking. And number 3, every opportunity that comes our way is to make money. But steal and make money. So we cannot use our brains. We don't think. We are not serious. We steal every penny. There is no project we can undertake unless that project gives us an opportunity to make billions of shillings. If you want to fail, go for grants and donations. Once I see government is monitoring grants and donations, I know they want to fail. They will not succeed. Both the people bringing the funds and those running the projects that are funded by donors and other people, all of them are going to eat that money. These things God gave you to use, you just throw away at us for a song to foreigners.
More so in Kilifi.
It's an African curse. It's an African curse.
An African curse, you say?
Yeah, because the leaders collaborate with the exploiters.
There's an underhand in there.
It is our leaders. When we got independent, Wazungus were very careful to select those people who could work in cohorts with them so that they continued exploiting the African people.
All right.
And we continue to put the same people in office.
How subtle is it for Kenya to put into context of national development the conversation about climate action transformation? It is for that reason that we dedicate this particular edition of Business Glide that is just coming a few days after the conclusion of the Kusi Ideas Festival and also the recently concluded COP27 summit that was held in Egypt. Well, of course, Kenya is gravitating towards a path of making sustainable solutions that address climate change issues in Africa, and particularly in Kenya, that is serving, literally, that is facing, or rather succumbing to some of the fatalities that come with the change in weather patterns and also people going high on carbon emissions. My name is Richard Mwenje. Such a pleasure to have you on this edition of Business Glide. And with me is none other than public scholar himself, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you.
You're looking good.
Wow.
Aging like fine wine.
I'm telling you.
And Christmas is here.
I am telling you.
Are we going to Malaysia or South Africa?
Kuala Lumpur, eh? I think so.
With the Hustler Fund?
Yes.
All right, sir. Let's talk matters climate change and the context at which Kenya is seeing all that from. We are looking at addressing climate change challenges for our sustainable development. Very recently, let's start here. Kenya sent a very powerful delegation of over 380 people for the COP27 summit. Now, we've had people being skeptic of the government efforts to addressing climate change, but if you look at just at that number, over 380 delegates, one of the highest among those that attended the summit, do you think that shows the seriousness that this government is taking such initiatives and subjects?
It shows the level of insensitivity.
How so?
It shows the level of blindness to reality, first of all. How can you say such a large delegation from such a poor country, then tomorrow you are begging? And at the point of not making sense. So that tells you these are not people who are going to attend to something. These are people who are seizing that opportunity.
Not for knowledge
to travel
transfer?
Outside, no.
You mean even PSS?
You just look at the delegation and you know the purpose for the whole thing. It's for people to travel, to go and make some little money by per diem, to do shopping.
Do you mean that the high number of principal secretaries and their spouses and also those climate change experts, can they stoop that low to just go there for the per diems?
They have gone for shopping and per diem.
But they have good salaries, their jobs.
No, these are people who build a house from start to end through travel.
Come on.
Yeah, we have friends, we have relatives. They buy a plot, then they go on trip to some part of the world. They come back, they start foundation. They go to Naivasha for 2 weeks for seminar. They wanamwaga simiti. They stay 3 weeks. They go to Mombasa for a seminar. Wanakuja wanasimamisha ukuta. They go to India on some mission, government mission. They came back. They finish the walling until the house is complete.
All right.
Then they go to China now to bring containers for finishing.
Well noted, sir.
Yes.
If you're looking at just the recently concluded Kusi Ideas Festival, yet another edition organized by NMG, we are looking at sustainable solutions coming after the conclusion of COP27, and one of them has been picked by President Ruto is the planting of over 5 billion trees in the next 5 years. Well, where do we start here with a country that we still have land acreage issues, and also we are looking at the potential of the Shamba system coming on board? Where do people get that space actually to plant the trees in the first place when we are actually facing housing issues in this country? Do we go there and just conserve the existing government forest, or now we even force these very Kenyans in a quarter parcels of land to actually plant the very same trees?
There's enough space to plant trees. First of all, tree planting does not necessarily mean afforestation. It doesn't need to be on acres of land. If each person with a quarter an acre of land, a plot even in Nairobi, if you planted 1 or 2 trees, even for fruits for your family, you can imagine you'll end up with a lot of trees.
But do you mean for the president it's such an ambitious task of every person in a household planting 100 trees in their birthdays, during their birthdays? Is that an ambitious task?
Those are things that now don't work. You must link what you are doing with some level of seriousness. If you want to plant trees, for example, government can reclaim land that is looks like arid wasteland. This is what other people do. What's wrong with us? You look at land that is arid or semi-arid or wasteland. Maybe some activities can take there under normal conditions. Then you transform that into arable land or forest land. Israel is a desert, but they are farming things here. Libya, so government can take 1 million acres somewhere and say, this one we are going to plant trees. We are reclaiming this wasteland or arid land. We are getting water from the Indian Ocean and processing it to be used for irrigation and for planting trees. That's a serious government project. You can have a project and say, in the next 10 years, Kenya Power will not use concrete poles and they will not buy poles from anybody. They have been given 1 million acres to make sure there is water in that place and they are planted trees so that in 10 years, they will just be using their own trees. That one is something tangible, something you can put your hand on, a project that can start, kick off, and they grow into something. But this one, 100 trees of birthday, that is...
All right.
That you have to inculcate the culture.
But if you're looking at now amassing this wasteland and putting it into productivity, we have an extensive ASAL areas in the Northern Corridor therein. Each year we are seeing donor funding being projected towards that side. But you go year after year, you still find those economies not fully exploited, and still banditry is the order of the day in that. Where do these funds actually go to?
Because all projects are for people to eat money. They are not serious projects. What I'm talking about is a serious government project to claim wasteland, arid land, and turn it into tree planting zones. That is possible. Or, for example, if you move across this country, if you are driving or you are in a matatu or you are on air, you can see if you are in, let's just use Kericho first of all. Very easy to see. If you are moving from Kericho, if you are moving from Londiani on the Kericho Road, as you head to Kericho, around the place where Lawrence Sajini had an accident and I think died, a very sharp corner, and then the steepest hill as you are going to Kericho. If you look on your right, you can see very steep hills. Everybody knows you cannot cultivate there because the soil is just going. But now, because of the pressure on land, because of scarcity of land, people are now calculating. And you see in the next 10 years, you'll just see rocks. All the soil will have been washed away. Government can start by those areas that are dangerous for farming, because of soil erosion. Claim the land. Work out a way with working with the owners. You don't even need to buy from them. You can say, let's plant trees on your 5 acres because you can't farm here. This is going to waste. We plant trees with you. You take care of the trees. In the 5 years it will take the trees to grow, government can give you some 10 bags of maize per year, which you could not get there maybe. That's the kind of thinking I'm talking about. So if you have a minister in charge of environment,
so you plan to it.
I want that kind of thinking. You see, you work with agriculture, Minister of Agriculture. So there are certain parts, hilly parts, slope places, along rivers. What kind of trees can we plant without making the river streams dry? Not blue gum, eucalyptus, no. Indigenous trees or this some other trees like even Groveria. So we plant with you. This is your land next to the river. But we don't want you to till because the soil will go away.
I see.
So projects like those can yield even 1 billion, 2 billion trees. Sensible projects, tangible projects. You see, working with the people and the communities to understand the meaning of the environment, of soil, the dangers of soil erosion. You see, while taking into consideration their livelihoods. I saw a project by some conservancy groups, I think, where they are saying people do not farm here, let animals roam here. I think it's somewhere in Kajiado. And for every 1 year, we're able to give you this and this, so that let the animals just roam. Why must it be a Mzungu to come and think for us?
Talking of the same Mzungu, this for the government has been decrying that the issue, actually, or rather the stumbling block towards fully implementing solutions drawn from such COP27 summits is because of the low funding towards climate change solutions. But this far, donors have tried to commit themselves to their level best. But the question is, do you think from the eye of a private investor and donors, they actually have little confidence in the fiscal prudence of the government when it comes to grants and donations towards such causes?
If you want to fail, go for grants and donations. Once I see government is monitoring grants and donations, I know they want to fail. They will not succeed. Both the people bringing the funds and those running the projects that are funded by donors and other people, all of them are going to eat that money.
Not for humanity.
You look at the big vehicles the donors will give you. Look at the salaries for the experts who come with the funds. Nobody wants the project to succeed. These are simple things we can do on our own. Simple. Planting trees, why do you need a donor? Why? What do you need a donor for?
The government is cash
Would you need a donor to make every school that has some space to plant 50 trees, 200 trees? There are schools like Lanana with huge tracts of land.
They can put a
if you ask them, by the time you get to use the land, set aside 100 acres and put their trees. And in 15 years, the school will be benefiting. Do you need a donor to do that? What is the role of the donor there? Somebody called Olude Makugoy. I think, is she alive? She's a writer. I think she's alive. Oh God, I can't remember. We were having we pretend sometimes to be writers, guy of literature. We had a conference at Pan-Africa, Sarova Pan-Africa. And it was sponsored. No, she told us something. She made us look very stupid. Seated on this table, must we wait for a donor to fund a conference for us, like this one here? Can we even just meet here and you buy your tea and I buy my tea? And we discuss matters of literature, of African literature. The donor mentality is what is killing us.
Need for more self-reliance.
You don't need a donor to plant trees in the country. You don't even need money. The government doesn't even need to set aside the money for that. What for?
All right.
I mean, it's very simple.
But then again, this is the same government that is trying to go towards green, sustainable solution. But very recently in Kilifi, we've seen the uprooting of baobab trees. And they are being sold to Atlanta, Georgia at a tune of 300,000 shillings per tree. They actually fully uprooted and actually shipped away. The government had at some point given license to such private buyers, but then it stopped it halfway, just after the uproar from the locals. Would you say that such actions, when they come to play, just shows the lack of seriousness from the Environment and Forestry Ministry? Or somewhat, they are justified to uproot them?
That's an African disease, the African problem. God, when he was making this world, he distributed what he had to distribute. There are those he gave Wazungu, those he gave you as Africans, others he gave to Indians. People have used what God gave them. You are just living, let what God gave you, just going for a song. Some stupid boys come from Canada and they say, give us 1,000 acres. We want to mine some minerals from there. And they give you miserable 100 million and you go clapping. They mess the environment. People get all manner of diseases. People are displaced. They are compensated at the rate of 500 shillings an acre, 5,000 shillings an acre, or even 50,000. They can't get it. They are disrupted. Their ways of lives are disrupted. Their culture, their heritage. These things God gave you to use, you just throw away at us for a song to foreigners.
More so in Kilifi.
It's an African curse. It's an African curse.
An African curse, you say?
Yeah, because the leaders collaborate with the exploiters.
There's an underhand in there.
It is our leaders. When we got independent, Wazungus were very careful to select those people who could work in cohorts with them so that they continued exploiting the African people.
All right.
And we continue to put the same people in office.
Kenya, 59 years later, is still struggling with checking its carbon footprint. And in that particular regard, we are seeing this is a country endowed with such a huge amount of renewable energy sources, wind power, we are talking of geothermal development and all those kind of opportunities for us to go on green energy. If you look at the electricity bill that comes to your doorstep, you will wonder whether you're in Kenya or you're living in America or some other places where they don't have these sources. Why is it so hard for us to gravitate towards a path of cheap energy like in Rwanda or in our neighboring countries in Ethiopia, yet we have the sources in here?
Lack of seriousness. We are never serious with anything as Kenyans. And this will be our undoing. We are not serious with anything, and we don't like thinking. And number three, every opportunity that comes our way is to make money. But steal and make money. So we cannot use our brains, we don't think, we are not serious, we steal every penny. There is no project we can undertake unless that project gives us an opportunity to make billions of shillings. Otherwise, how do you explain the reality of temperate countries where winter is there and the sun is rarely using solar?
And wind power.
Yeah. There's wind even here at Konabarit, it can carry your car away. I'm telling you. It shakes your car, you think the car will run away. Konabarit here at
And also in Loyangalani, in Turkana.
The sun is here 24/7, January to December. And the countries that see the sun twice, 2-3 months in a year generate solar for consumption.
But don't you think because...
It can't be anything else apart from the three things I've told you. Lack of seriousness, our greed for money, and our allergic nature to thinking. We are allergic to thinking.
But probably it's because we need to create strategic partnerships with those who can help us with knowledge transfer to exploit the very same resources. Do you think we have that capacity in terms of the engineers,
you don't even need. The world today works in a very simple way. Anything you want is there. You don't even need to take anybody to Israel to learn irrigation. We already know it.
Or a Chinese farm to do.
No, it's so easy. The world has become so simple. Something is discovered in Hong Kong, and tomorrow, everybody is using that invention. What is it you need about solar energy that our engineers here cannot do? Just lack of seriousness, allergy to thinking, and our love for money and stealing. That's all.
And that's it. Well, of course, there you have it from Herman Manyora talking matters climate change in this particular country. And also, it just comes in the backdrop of the just concluded Kusi Ideas Festival and also the COP27 summit that was recently concluded. We've looked at some of the recommendations that came from the summit and what Kenya needs to do today, if not tomorrow. My name is Richard Mwanja. Time for a fan of the week. It is none other than John Courier in Kitale.
John Courier from Kitale. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, John Courier.
All right, until next time on Business Glide, my name is Richard Mwanja. Up next on your screen is the Business Glide African Proverb of the Day.